Howdy, howdy, folks, and welcome to Moose Podcast number 367 Old Ways. How are you folks doing this week? We are cranking into fall. A lot of places, fall color is come and gone. Um, I just spent an incredibly great week on the Philmont Scout Ranch, Cimarron, New Mexico. Fall color hadn't quite hit peak there. Flying back over the Rockies, I saw a bunch of color that was really gorgeous. And then coming back here to Montana, I see a lot of it is on the downhill slide. Whatever state you find your fall color, I hope you're out there enjoying it. It's just a gorgeous time of year just to be out and nothing else. Looking at the light through the leaves, hopefully bringing that light back in clicks and sharing them with others. Well, lots been going on this past week, and you guys have been kind of quiet. A couple emails, but otherwise, I'm assuming that all the news with all the eclipse just kept you guys out there. Hey, behind that lens and making those photographs. So that's probably a really great thing. But I do want to thank you guys for your support. Had a had a gentleman in the airport a week ago come up to me and said, "Are you Moose Peterson?" And said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Wow, I see you a lot in your videos, but boy, I hear you all the time in your podcast. Thanks so much." Reginald, I wonder if your name you go by Reg, but Reginald, thank you for stopping me and the kind words. I'm really grateful. Hey, I want to thank my good friends at Bedford Camera, Bedfords.com, home of that Moose discount. Yeah, even I, Moose, use that discount. It works really well. Well, they've got a lot going on at Bedford's. Right now, our fall savings on a whole lot of great gear. And of course, when you have any of those sales or rebates, you still get that 5% for Moose. Yeah. So when you check out, you see that. And they've got PhotoCon coming up, the 2nd through 4th of November, which is a great in person event with some marvelous speakers, great deals, and people you can sit there and talk to point blank, ask them this, that. All the gear is there that you can pick up. You might be lucky. You might see the new Nikkor Z 135 1.8. A lot of people asking me if I'm going to buy that lens because I mentioned I was, and yes, I'm going to. It's just not going to be this year. No, after that Z600F4 purchase, my gear budget was kind of tapped. But hey, they might even have that new Z600 6.3. If you're an old timer, well, maybe not. You might remember that beautiful 500f4 PF lens, or 5.6 PF lens. Well, they took up a notch, made it 600 6.3, and almost the same package. Close focusing. Oh man, it's just a winter lens, and all this good stuff you can find and get at Bedford's. Just remember when you say to Bedford's, two things: thanks for sponsoring the Moose Podcast, and where's that Moose discount? I want to get into this week's podcast, Old Ways. Now, yeah, this could go a lot of different directions, and I could go for a long time on this one, but that's not going to be the case. Old Ways, photographers, and this came to my mind when I was talking to a youngster a couple weeks ago, and youngster, as in he wasn't even 30 yet, and he already was kind of set in his old ways. And I'm like, wow, you're kind of young to be set in old ways already. And he looked at me, of course, with my gray hair and gray mustache. And yeah, I can only imagine what was going through his head. But to get to the point, photographers, woodworkers, artists, musicians, people, we get set in our old ways. And boy, there are some times when we can't get out of our own way to make things happen. So, how can you get past that? I've mentioned many different ways here on the podcast. Let's go with the extreme, and that's spending money. So I have the 800 5.6 AFS lens, and I bought it when it first came out. So I paid that luscious $18,000 price for it. I've also mentioned many times the basic philosophy in the business of photography, where you want to earn $5 for every that dollar you spent. So did that in this one specific case at 800 earn that 18,000 times 5? Oh yeah, a couple times over. It has always produced and done very well for me. So then I had a couple people ask me quite recently ask me why or ask me if I got rid of or sold that 800 5.6 AFS when I got the Z600 F4. And the answer is no. And they had this quizzical look. And the bottom line is the 800 5.6, F mount stuff price wise kind of has taken it to shorts with the world of Z. But the other thing is there is, and this goes back to old ways, the emotional attachment to that piece of gear. There's a lot of images. As I here in the office looking at prints I have on the wall. Some of them were taken with that 800 5.6, and those memories come crashing back. And that romanticism we have with our gear, uh, a lot of times keeps us from moving forward. And that's just an old way of treasuring things that have happened. But there are times where that old gear is getting in the way of you moving forward. Let me give you an example. Pick on another piece of Nikon gear, the original 80 to 400 zoom. The did not have a motor inside of it. Its autofocus speed, the movement of elements, because of that, was really slow, slow, slow. And then if you put that on a mirrorless body, the AF is gone completely because there is no motor in the lens, and Z bodies do not have a motor AF motor inside of them. So you're now a manual focus, and it had no internal zooming, no internal focusing. So it's really slow. And ran into a photographer who shot it, loves it, loved the results because it was a sharp lens, but he was so fixated on the old ways that he wasn't going to move forward until a Z9 with a Z100 400 got put in his hands. And then it was like, you could see the lights going on. You could see his eyes getting big behind the camera. And the realization that his old ways, his attachment to that old system was actually a detriment to his photography. Now, moving this step further, this, and I just love photographers. So sometimes the conversations that come up in this process, because I'm here to tell you, if you are going out to buy a new piece of gear cold turkey, you are taking a big risk. And I'm not talking about the gear, I'm talking about yourself. I'm talking about you grabbing a piece of gear and just the tactile experience not working for you. The classic is there are some who just absolutely love the size of the Z8. There are others who absolutely love the size of the Z9, even though they're practically the same camera as far as application and function. It's just the way the camera fits your hand. It's just that simple. How big or small is your hand? How big or that's not how great or well, how much muscle do you have in your hand? Is what I'm trying to spit out. How does it fit on your face? Those basics. Forget the way that takes a picture, the sensor, the noise, any of that kind of stuff. Just the simple ergonomics of it working with you buying it cold turkey, but old ways is, oh, if it's the best, it's got to be for me. And that might not be the case. That simply might not be the case. And then we started after that conversation going, and I said, if you're moving to mirrorless, and at this point in time, I don't, why would you want a DSLR? I just don't get that at all anymore. But there are some who do, and God bless you. And there are some amazing. Hey, Bedford's got some screaming deals on used DSLRs that are brand new that are just screaming deals. So if you're just starting out in photography, that would make sense to me. But if you've been doing it for a while, but that came up with the old shutter no, I hate that word. Actuations. I need to go spend an hour in front of the mirror. Actuations, shutter actuations. How many times that shutter click? Now, I'd have to go look at my notes. I know I figured out a couple times. My D5 before it got put in the collection had just shy of 900,000, something like that, clicks. And that people are still hooked on that. And the conversation came up, "Well, what about mirrorless?" And I looked at him, I go, yeah, what about it? Uh, the Z9 and the Z8 have a sensor shield, which looks like a shutter, but it's not a shutter. It's a sensor shield. And the other Nikon mirrors bodies don't have anything. So that one crutch, old way of doing stuff is kind of gone away. I mean, the point is we kind of need to move on. There are certain things like hand holding, panning, the relationship of f-stop and shutter speed, and of course, my favorite, light. Some elements of photography don't change. We might have a different relationship with it, but that doesn't change. But there are so many other things that evolve quickly. That let's pick on AI for a second. AI. Now, boy, I'm telling you, I've seen some people go to the dark side, and yeah, it's just not pretty. Then there's other occasions where AI, well, for example, in aviation photography, when I'm doing static work, there are times where back in the day, it would take sometimes 20 minutes, 30 minutes to remove a couple people in their uh, lawn chair on a flight line from underneath a wing. And now you can do it in 12 seconds with generative fill. So here's the question. It's still going to be the end. I want those people gone from the photograph. I don't want to make them go get up and move. That's just, they're there to enjoy it as well. I don't want to spend that 15, 20 minutes. So yeah, generative fill, 12 seconds, it's gone. I'm not going to stick with my old ways. I'm going to move forward. Another example, which, you know, heavenly bodies or photographing the stars, something I've been doing for a long time. And I stopped for a long time because so many people were using pictures that you got for free from NASA and using sky replacement and sticking it in there that I was just revolted by the whole idea. So I just didn't partake. So now, I mean, I used to do a lot of things. Another, whole thing with old ways. But anyway, um, I've been going and doing some more heavenly body shots again, and so I was doing some last week in Philmont, and it's on a very active flight path for a lot of commercial airlines. And when we first started shooting, we had a nice little meteorite shower that started that was really cool. But then I had a couple planes, and one plane was fairly low, had some nav lights on the right side of the frame, and I'm like, oh man. And I had the GPS turned on. No, I didn't. I was using the Z8. Take it back. Did not have the GPS turned on. Um, then I got back with the images, and then this trail was probably, oh man, a good inch and a half in the photograph. It was a honker. And in the past, I just didn't worry about it because I tried a number of ways of dealing with it, and just you could always see the foot tracks. But this time I said, hey, what would generative AI do? And I circled them and went to generative fill, and man, it nailed it. I mean, it's just another example of how old ways a lot of times have to give way to new thought, new creativity, new you. And that's really the point. I took a long ways to get here. But you as a photographer, if we were just to do a really easy, quick way to figure it out, if you looked at how you take photographs today versus October of 2022, you literally just go back 1 year. Are you the same photographer? I bet if you really looked, you'd find that you'd evolved a lot. There are some things I'm sure are still the same, but in general terms, you have evolved a lot. So if you have evolved, shouldn't methodologies and things you do evolve with you? I mean, there are some, like I mentioned, hand holding and panning, those kind of things. Yes, you just keep making those better and better. But there's other things, either gear or techniques or the combination, the way you see things. Shouldn't some of those old ways go by the wayside? Should you not embrace more things? And of course, the scary thing is when you embrace something new, what might happen? Yes, failure. That's okay. That's really okay. That's part of the growing process of a photographer is the fact that you will more than likely have failure, but you'll grow from that. And so I want to encourage you that when things, perhaps maybe are a little boring, perhaps seem to be redundant, sometimes perhaps you say, I've got that shot. Maybe you should unembrace old ways and just go for it. Go for that Hail Mary. And perhaps you might just find a new way. And that new way might just make you say, yep, time to take that old way and put it in the drawer. You guys have a marvelous week. I look forward to conversing with you back and forth. Hopefully, see you out there. And remember to make every click your story.